In the League of Legends community today, there are a lot of players wanting to make it big. We're going to take a look at how to become a pro player in League of Legends today, so if you're attempting to go pro, this video should be helpful. So, let's get started. Have a high tier. The first item on our list today is perhaps the most obvious because it's something that any aspiring pro should be able to do to attain master tier. If not, challenger. Being at least master demonstrates that you are serious about the game and know how to practice and develop your skills. There's a lot you can do to progress from master to challenger, whether it's improving your mechanics or expanding your game knowledge. Still, you have to be there first before ever considering becoming a pro. Most organizations will only hire the best of the best, so aim to climb as high as you can on the ladder. This may be easier for some people than others, but making a name for yourself as a good player will never hurt your chances. You're demonstrating to any potential teams that want you in their roster that you're dedicated and that you can improve even further. Many players simply don't have the time to grind and maintain the challenger rank, which teams can consider. Still, they don't expect any various organizations to pick up the platinum player. Next up is connections. As with any industry, networking is a massive part of building a career. Let's say you've built up a solid foundation of knowledge about the scene, and you're chilling at a pretty high rank and challenger. If you're not getting anywhere, it's probably because you're missing the necessary connections with people in the industry. That might refer anyone from team managers to coaches to other players that you could meet in the solo queue. The more people you know, the more opportunities you'll have to join a team. You could undoubtedly inquire around to see if anyone knows of a position you might be interested in. Still, it also allows you the opportunity to form your squad. There are a lot of high elo solo queue players looking for opportunities to prove themselves. Making friends with whom you may create a team with or begin competing in amateur competitions is always a bright idea. The more close connections you have, the more likely it is someone will recommend you as a potential player. So, always try to create friends rather than enemies on the ladder. Another advantage of being a high rank is that you'll meet a lot of other aspiring pros as well as actual pros. And you could be sort of exposed to them by maybe simply playing with them in solo queue. Don't be toxic. Our third point is that you cannot be toxic in any way. There have been pro players who have a reputation for becoming toxic who have gone pro. But your most excellent chance at becoming pro is to be kind to everyone and not flame your team.
I think the game is unplayable because of the player base. Now, we talked about this before. Riot has made posts that they're trying to fix it. I want to go over everything that I have major issues with.
Make an effort to interact and collaborate with anyone you wind yourself on a team with. Others who know you're a positive person are far more likely to think you'd be a good fit in a team atmosphere, which increases your chances of being picked up by one of your connections and the likelihood that people will recommend you in the first place. If you're a toxic player, then you'll have to overcome numerous obstacles, starting with Riot to even consider getting pro. Marketing. Another essential issue that prospective professionals miss is the need of being marketable. Having a social media presence is simply the simplest method to make yourself marketable, even if it's only a tiny amount. Make a Twitter account where you may publish your fantastic video, interact with other professionals, tweet of them, or create a Twitch stream. Suppose you have the time or anything similar, and in that case, it makes a whole lot easier for followers, viewers, or relevant connections to follow you. It adds a degree of engagement that is essentially the foundation of being a marketable individual in this field. Another benefit is that it makes it much easier for you to make those important connections. Since it's a little harder to get noticed if all you do is play League of Legends and ignore everything else, try to build up a good audience or at the very least make a lot of good friends within the scene. You'll find that networking with larger entities like professional teams will be much easier. If two players perform identically on the same champion but one of them has a sizable Twitch following, you can bet that the team will pick up one with a Twitch presence. It's just another variable in your favor, another edge that you may have over competition. It also provides you with the option of trying to break into pro scene as a streaming personality or a content creator if the pro scene doesn't work out for you right away. Reach out to people. Make an effort to communicate with others. So many people seem to believe that the opportunities will just appear in their lives. But the reality is that you have to typically go out and hunt for them. You have to work hard to make those possibilities materialize. Waiting for things to happen is a great way to waste a lot of time and get nowhere. And unless you're the next faker, you're probably not going to get noticed until you make the effort to talk to people. If you think you'd be a good fit for a team and meet the qualifications, submit an application. In the worst case scenario, you won't make the team, but you'll miss every shot you don't attempt. Apply to as many teams as possible that have openings and some sort of team experience. At the very least, you might make some new connections or get your name out there a little bit. This ties back to networking, but honestly, it's one of the best ways to get yourself noticed, so it shouldn't be overlooked. Keep practicing. Now, we mentioned at the beginning of the video that the high rank is still important. Still, once you get there, you must continue to play as much as possible, gaining as much relevant team experience as possible. Your chances of getting noticed or making a friend involved with a potential team for you will be much higher if you spend more of your time meeting those people, whether in-game or at amateur events or something similar. Versatility. Another extremely crucial point, which is more directly relevant to actual gameplay, is that you should be versatile. The most classic approach for you is to have a large champion pool. You know, having a narrow champion pool is fantastic for solo queue if you're trying to climb, and it's feasible to become pro with a small pool of specialty champions, but being a flexible player will make you so much more likely and important to any squad. Try to learn as many champions as you can for your role and master them all. But more importantly, get adept at mastering a champion quickly because the meta changes frequently. You may never know who the next new champion will be. Therefore, being able to swiftly and easily extend your champion pool will be an essential tool for you. Each team has a limited number of seats available. Thus, choosing a player with a broad champion pool will provide them with more options than choosing a one-trick pony. It makes you a much more valuable player, and it also gives you a bit of buffer between major meta changes because you'll be more adaptable to major balance changes. Especially people with a large champion pools tend to be fairly good at expanding those champion pools as well, so you suddenly become a player who can be relied upon in the long run, not just because their champion is good. You want to be a consistent performer across the board, not just okay on some champions, but good on 2 or 3 champions. You want to play as many of them as high as you possibly can, though there's no harm in being a master of a few key picks. Last but not least, you must have prior team experience and individual experience. Team play differs significantly from the typical solo queue. As a result, clubs will always give preferences to people who have prior team experience. You want to be picked up by a professional team. Still, there are tons of opportunities on a smaller scale that can help you gain valuable experience that you can put on an application that you can just get some great practice and improve as a player with. There are always master and challenger teams that aren't professionals but play tournaments, so maybe go do tryouts or join them as a player or a sub. It's similar to being an artist, and you just need a portfolio of examples of your work experience and things that you've done in the past to acquire a job. As an aspiring pro, you must be able to demonstrate your previous experience as a player, both solo and in a team setting. If you're a challenger, it's your teamwork that will set you apart. So, if you have any fascinating advice that you didn't cover in this video, please let us know in the comment section down below. And thank you for tuning in.